So let's move into your campaign, because obviously, I mean, I never bought into this and I got shit for this. There was, during the Jimmy Dorification of the left, which I believe is starting to dissipate a little bit because he's obviously a right winger. But there was this I don't care if Jesus is running, if they're running as a Democrat, I ain't voting for them. And I always said, okay, I'm not happy with the Democratic Party. I cover them relentlessly in a critical manner. But at the end of the day, you can't, throw out the baby without the bathwater. And I'm going to look at the candidate. We can't have a crystal ball, but I'm not going to just say everyone's going to be like AOC just because the X, Y, and Z congressperson disappointed me. But to be clear, in South Florida, if you ran as an independent, I mean, you're wasting your time. Is that correct?
Yes. I mean, and that's what people really have to understand. And first of all, I so hate labels. I wish we had no parties. I'm a registered Democrat in Broward County, Florida. We have closed primaries. And if you are not registered as a Democrat, you don't participate in politics here. It's that simple. There is no running as an independent in a general and winning in this race. That does not happen. It's not possible. So, whether or not people want to accept that.
If you want to know, Tim Canova ran in 2016 before he turned MAGA. Tim Canova ran against Debbie Wasserman Schultz in 2016 as a Democrat. He lost by 14 points. And to be fair, they screwed him.
Yes.
And they literally illegally threw out the paper ballots in 2016. So it's very likely he did not lose by 14 percentage points. It's possible he won, for all I know.
Correct.
But he was literally and genuinely screwed. And it was an election crime. They threw out the paper ballots, but nobody went to prison. Shocker.
No.
But then he was understandably pissed off about that. He decided to run again in 2 years as an independent. He went from losing by 14%, which for a first-time challenger trying to take on Debbie Wasserman Schultz, it's not horrible.
No, he had $4 million, though, and an endorsement from Bernie, I might add, in 2016.
Right. But he ran as an independent, same district. I think he got 5%.
Yeah. And he was probably screwed then too. I don't doubt that. But the reality is you just can't. We have 14% voter turnout in a primary, people. It's a blue district. That's just how it is. It's just how it is. And so this is the way to do it. And I get it. People are disillusioned. They're pissed. They're disappointed. They put their faith in people. And it turns out to be that they're not what they say they are. I get it. I feel the same way. I would suggest that if, for me personally, I have like 3.5 years of content on my podcast that is very clear as to who I am on different things. I've never I'm pretty consistent, about where I stand on issues. And the only reason I am affiliated with the Democratic Party, besides just strategically, is I registered as a Democrat when I turned 18 in 1989. And that was what my parents were. That's what my grandparents were. And, working people. So that was that was what I knew. Democrats were working people, Republicans, it was more management. And that was just my mindset. I get we're not there anymore. I get it. I assure you, I get it. But that I still technically would probably be closer to them in theory if they were, what they even say they are. So it is what it is.
Well, I also think there's something to be said in general. At the end of the day, yes, you got, I don't take anything away from people who are running third party on the local level, national level. I get, well, how are we going to build an independent candidate or a third party candidate if there's not a few who take the lumps? I get that. But you're also asking somebody like Jen to basically give up their life for a year or two, piss away a lot of their own personal money because nobody runs and doesn't piss away some of their own money for a vanity campaign.
Right.
For, no chance to win. I mean, that's a lot to ask in general if it's working class people running for these seats to run knowing you have no shot because of the demographics of the district, because of the registration. And to the point Jen made, most of these places, you're lucky if you get between 13 and 20% voter turnout in primaries. In Nina Turner's race in Cleveland, both times, it was really horrible voter turnout. So, I would love a third party candidate. And I think Cornel West made a mistake leaving the Green Party, frankly. I hate that Jill Stein and Cornel West are both running. I think they're monopolizing each other. And I know there's a beef or whatever. I'll leave that for a separate. But I'd rather you run with a chance to win. And then, if people want to say, well, what's the point? She's just going to join the squad and sell out. All right. Well, if you think that about every candidate and you just that sure, then why even watch anything? Just check out if you think it's all for naught. Now, let's get to the campaign. You're running against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Tell us where things stand right now. We established that the district is different. There are more Black voters in the district now. There's more Hispanic voters, the more younger voters.
Yes.
I don't know if there's been any polling. Probably not. I don't know if the media is covering you at all. Probably not. But where do you see things standing now? And the primary is in August.
August 20th. We have an August 20th primary. And I want to be clear for people about when you think about this in terms of strategy and how you're running, and, the people that are in a position where they think that I should stand on principle and run not as a Democrat and take a stand on that. That's a very privileged position to be in. And I'm going to tell you why, because the amount of people that are supporting me in this district, people that are vulnerable, people that are sending me $1 here and $1 there, those people want me to win. Those people want to unseat Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And I have been studying the numbers in this district for about 15 years. This is how it has to be done. So I would actually feel like a total piece of shit if I campaigned just as a matter of principle to take a stand against the Democratic Party and took money from people who really want me to help and do something. See, that is privilege. And that is unacceptable. So what I'm doing is in the best interest of winning this seat for those people. So let me be clear. It's not my ideology. Anyway, so wait, go back to what you were saying. I'm sorry. I got kind of off on it.
I was basically saying, where do things stand? I don't know if there's any, I doubt there's polling. I doubt the local media is covering you.
Right.
But where, we know, because you and we should give a shout out to Peter Hager, Pecker. Peter Hager, your co-host and longtime Debbie Wasserman Schultz enemy. I think Peter Hager, honestly, if you gave him Peter, if you had, you're going to win the Powerball tonight or unseat Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I'm not sure he wouldn't take unseating Debbie Wasserman Schultz. That's the hatred. Listen,
I actually would tell you this is what he would do. He would win the money and he would put it all towards beating Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
That's fair. But tell people where things stand, because, we have people watching in Florida or people outside of Florida that might want to support in other ways.
And everybody can support. That's very, very exciting if everybody supports. I call our monthly donors or shareholders. I've just started calling people the shareholders.
And the link to Jen's website's in the description under the video, but go on.
So one thing that's been really interesting to me this time versus last time. So in 20, obviously no name recognition. We were starting from nothing. And it was me just pounding the pavement, getting people to listen, getting people to pay attention. And this time around, people are really reaching out to us. So I noticed that's a huge difference. I also noticed locally the difference in how I'm treated in communities and amongst local electeds is very, very different. Yes, I still get the occasional side eye from a Debbie sycophant. It happens. But for the most part, it's just a whole different thing now. When I walk in, I could go to, for example, at my League of Women Voters luncheon, and I went by myself because, the tickets are not inexpensive and it's just my ladies' lunch thing. And so I went, and 4 years ago when I went to the lunch, it was everybody knew who I was. They knew I was running and they didn't even know what they should say to me. This time, the mayor of Plantation invites me over to his table and introduces me to his family. It's a very different situation. Also,
do you think politically among the power brokers of Florida, the elected people,
yes,
things are turning a little bit against Miss Wasserman Schultz?
Oh, for sure. She's lost 4 mayors in our district. And by lost, I mean, they didn't die, but they were replaced by people that are not her people and people that I'm friendly with and people that I feel comfortable with. So there has been a change. There's also been a certain amount of credibility, just being a fixture in the community and serving and doing different things and showing up for other community leaders. Like that mayor is someone that I canvassed for, so that's sort of the grassroots version of they owe me, right? That's it's not the big dollars that you don't know, but it's building community of people that want to work together and want to make things better. So they know that their people would be better off with someone like me serving. And so people that are truly in their municipal seats for the right reasons, they get this. They get this. They see it. They don't want that. A lot of people, like our mayor, he's a total mayor. He doesn't need the job. He actually is like the mayor. He likes to serve. He's a public servant. Like those people, they want somebody that's a real person to be trying to help their district. So I think there's that. Yeah.
And let's also get to, obviously we've talked a lot about the Israel-Gaza situation, but the district, I mean, people think about Miami, South Florida as kind of glitzy, wealthy. There's a lot of parts of it that aren't doing so well. And Debbie Wasserman Schultz hasn't done jack shit for any of those working class people or minorities for the last 20 years. She has signed off on every corporate welfare you could imagine, every dollar to Israel and elsewhere. I don't see her bringing much back by way of labor, working class issues. She's against Medicare for all. So talk about, what would be your top priorities? Obviously, you're running on Israel, but what could you actually get done in this dysfunctional cesspool that is Congress?
Yeah, it's bad. So first of all, and just regarding our demographics, is that I have come to realize that there are 75,000 Muslims in Broward County. And the vast majority of them are registered Democrat, and the vast majority of them haven't traditionally voted in primaries. And the vast majority of them are furious right now. So, and even if half of those are in our district, because we're only about half of Broward, that's a population that has not traditionally participated in primary voting, that is extremely organized and motivated. And some of them, and I am happy to say this, are wealthy. So, sometimes you piss off wealthy people too, and that is helpful to us. So, I mean, that is one of those things that changes the dynamic as well.